Well, so let us start our analysis of root locus. Before seeing this particular example, I would like to have a quick recap of our rules of root locus. Rule number 1: root locus is symmetrical about sigma axis or real axis. Rule number 2 states about root locus start from pole and end at 0. If there is a not sufficient 0, then it will end to infinity. Rule number 3 talks about what are the parts of or what are the sections of real axis which are the part of root locus also. So for this we have said that if number of poles plus number of 0 to the right side of that section is equal to odd, then that particular section of real axis will be the part of root locus, and this particular p dash plus z dash is equal to odd was for k greater than 0, means that is for direct root locus. Correct? Then we have found the asymptotes. Asymptotes, for the finding asymptotes we have given the formula that theta is equal to 2p plus 1 multiplied by 180 degree divided by mod of p minus z, where q is from 0, 1, 2, 3 to p minus z minus 1. Correct? Then we went to finding the centroid is what? The intersection point on the real axis. The centroid of your asymptote. Centroids are denoted by sigma. Sigma is equal to summation of real parts of poles minus real part of 0 divided by p minus z. After that, we have seen analyze about the breakaway and breaking point. These are the points where the multiple root lie on the root locus. So we have also seen the three possibilities. There may be three possible cases in which breaking or breakaway point may occur on real axis. First was that if there are two poles on the real axis and the portion of the real axis between those two poles are the part of root locus, then there is a possibility of your breakaway point. Second thing is that if there are two zeros on the real axis and the section between these two zeros of the real axis are the part of real axis, then there is a possibility of breaking point. Third was that if there is a 0 on the real axis and to the left of this 0, whole of this axis is a part of root locus, then once again there is a possibility of breaking point. So these are three possibilities of breaking point on the real axis. We are not talking about a general point, but if it has to be on the real axis, these are the three possibilities. Correct? Then in next rule we have tried to analyze how to find these breakaway points. Correct? So for finding the breakaway point, we have seen that you have to represent all the equation in form of k. That is the gain of system is something function of s. Then differentiate that k is find the dk upon ds and put it to 0. So we will get some value of s. If these values of s are real values, then you are lucky enough. I have said that then breakaway point will lie on the real axis. So you can directly imply those three possibilities of breakaway point or breaking point. So for checking, you will get the those value of s which is for value of k which lies between minus infinity to plus infinity. But you are working on the direct root locus, means you want those value of k for which the value of k is possible. Those value of s for which the value of k is possible. So you will reversibly put one by one this value of s in the current equation and look for the value of k. If the value of k is positive, then those values of s will be the valid breakaway or breaking point. If the value comes out to be negative, if the value of k comes out to be negative, then if you are working on the direct root locus, then this value you have to discard. If you are working on inverse root locus, then this value will be accepted. Correct? Next point was that about intersection with the j omega axis or imaginary axis. So for to finding the intersection, you have to start with the characteristic equation. You have to construct the Rao's array in terms of k and look for those particular element of a particular array. That if there is any possibility that for putting any value of k, the whole of a particular row becomes 0. If there is any possibility, put that particular first element is equal to 0, we will get a given value of k that will be known as k marginal. Means at this value of k, your root is going to be lie on j omega x. Correct? And correspond to that, if you put that value of k in your given equation, you will get the corresponding value of s. So this will be your intersection point. Next one was that the angle of departure for a complex pole and angle of arrival for a complex zero, because we have already stated that the pole start from complex zero and the root locus start from poles and end to the zero. So it will be the departure angle of departure associated with the complex pole and angle of arrival associated with the complex zero. I have stated the formula that phi d, angle of departure, phi d will be 180 degree minus phi, where phi is summation of phi p minus summation of phi k. This was for direct root locus. Once again, angle of arrival phi a was equal to 180 degree minus phi. Once again, phi is equal to summation of phi b minus summation of phi z. This was the whole story of the previous class. One more point is that if you are working on the inverse root locus, your phi d will be equal to 0 degree minus phi. Correct? For inverse root locus means for k less than 0, your phi d will be equal to 0 degree minus phi, that is equal to minus phi. And phi a will be equal to 0 degree plus phi, that is equal to once again plus phi. These are angle of arrival and angle of departure for inverse type of root locus. Correct? So I hope you might have also remembered this formula and rules of this rule. Correct? Okay. So now we are going to solve this particular question to understand each and every rule or implication of each and every rule of the rule. This question says that for a unity feedback system means value of hs is equal to 1. Correct? We are going to work on the open loop transfer function, that is gs hs is equal to something. So for unity feedback system, it has provided that hs is equal to 1. The open loop transfer function is given by gs hs is equal to this, means they have already took the value of hs is equal to 1 by multiplying this value is provided to you. Correct? First question is that is the root locus for this a 0 to infinity, means they are asking about direct root locus. If it is not specified, if it is asked like that, is the root locus, you have to take this value 1 until it is specified about inverse root locus. Correct? Second is that at what value of k the system becomes unstable. Can you say what may be the value of k at which the system becomes unstable? Which value of k is being asked? It is nothing but k marginal. Okay. At this point of instability, determine the frequency of oscillation of the system. What will be the associated frequency? You will get something. S is equal to, after finding that k is equal to k marginal, you will put this value of k marginal in your characteristic equation and you will solve for the value of s. Whatever the value of s will be the intersection point of the root locus to the j omega axis. So whatever the value of x will be, it will be purely imaginary, maybe plus minus in terms of j omega 1 or omega 2 or whatever it may be. This omega 1, omega 2 or omega 3 in general signifies that frequency of oscillation. Correct? So let us solve this particular question step by step. Let us start. So first rule talks about symmetricity of the root locus is of no use here. First we have to find the value of capital P and value of capital J and value of capital N. So what is the value of capital P? Capital P is the number of open loop poles. So P is equal to what? 4. S is equal to 0, S is equal to minus 2 and 2 from here. So C is equal to 4. For the time being, we are not interested in the value. We are just interested in the number. So what is the number of open loop poles? It is 4. What is the value of J? It is what is the number of open loop 0. So there is no resistance, so it will be 0. So what will be the number of branches of the root locus capital N? It will be maximum of P and Z. So this 4. Very good. So we have decided that there are going to be 4 branches in our root. So let us find. Second point says that the root locus is going to be start from open loop codes and will end to the open loop 0, finite 0. If there are no zeros, then it will go move towards infinity. So here you know that there are 4 poles. So those 4 branches will start from these 4 poles, and there is no zero. So all of the 4 branches will move towards infinity along the specified asymptotes which we will calculate. Okay? So find the value of poles. Poles will be at s is equal to 0 and what? S is equal to -2, s is equal to -3 plus j4 and -3 minus j4. Is correct? Yes, sir. So I am going to locate. So your first point will be like this. So finding the number of branches is your first step. So I am going to locate this. This is s is equal to 0. What is this? S is equal to, you can say, -2, and this I am going to take. This is -3 point, -3 to 4. This point. This is, you can say, -3 plus 4j, and this is -3 minus 4. So we have located. Second step is that we have to find whether there is any section or not. So we are having 3 sections. This one section, then second section, that is the section between s is equal to 0 to s is equal to -2. This is your third section. So which of these 3 sections are the part of your root locus? So put the value of p dash plus z dash. This will be equal to 0. 0 is an even quantity, so it will not be a part of root locus. For this section, z is equal to z dash is equal to 1, p dash is equal to 0. That is z dash plus p dash is equal to 1. That is odd, so it will be the part of root locus. Correct? So for this section, what will happen? 1 and 1. We are going to ignore the complex because it is not going to change the analysis. So this part of the analysis will not be the part of root locus. Okay. So from the previous knowledge, we know that when the portion of real axis between 2 poles are the part of your root locus, then there must be a breakaway point between these. Correct? There must be a breakaway point between these. So we know that. We will work on this further. What will be the next step? Next step is to find the angle of asymptotes, because there are 4 branches of the root locus. So how many asymptotes will be there? 4 asymptotes will be there. So angle of asymptotes, theta is equal to 2q plus 1 multiplied by 180 degree divided by p minus z. Theta is equal to 2q plus 1 multiplied by 180 degree divided by p minus z is equal to 4 for this particular case. So put the value of q is equal to 0, then 1, then 2, then 3. What you will get? You will get theta 1 is equal to 45 degree, theta 2 will be equal to 135 degree, theta 3 will be equal to 225 degree, and theta 4 will be equal to 315. Okay. So we know these straight lines. These are the straight lines. Because if you know the theta, you will be able to know the slope of this particular straight line. But the problem is that we don't know the point. From which point of the real axis they are going to pass or they are going to intersect to each other. So for this, next step will be the calculation of centroid. What will be the centroid? Summation of calculation of centroid. You have to write like this. This one your second step, this one your third step you have to write like this calculation of centroid. This will be equal to sigma. Sigma is equal to summation of the real parts of cos minus real parts of 0 divided by 4. What it will be? Real part of cos 0 plus real part of 4 minus 2 plus minus 3 and plus minus 3 minus 3 and minus 3 minus summation of real part of 0 since there are no 0 divided by t minus j. That is what? Minus 8 divided by 4 will be equal to minus
Sir, sigma square 4
sigma okay, it is minus 4 sir, correct? So your asymptotes will intersect on these points now. So let us locate this. This is your 45 degree, correct? And what is 135 degree? I think symmetrical. These are symmetrical. Correct or no? This is 45 degree. This is 135 degree. And this is your 225 degree. And last one is what? This is your 315. So these are symmetrically located. So you know for this particular line, you know that this passes through minus 2, 0 and its slope is 45. So you can easily plot these 4 straight lines. Correct? We are not going to take the whole line is one of the straight line. Correct? It will start from here and it will move like vector. You cannot say that this line is this line. So these are only 2 asymptotes. Rather you have to take each portion individually. So there are 4 asymptotes. Correct? So what is the next point? Next point is that from the various cases discussed in the previous class, you know that there might be a breakaway point between minus 2 and 0. So our next job is to find the breakaway point. So next point is the breakaway point. Calculation of breakaway point. Correct? Calculation of breakaway point. So for breakaway point, we start with characteristic equation, that is 1 plus ds hs is equal to 0. So you can say 1 plus k multiplied k divided by s multiplied by s plus 2 multiplied by s square plus 6s plus 25 is equal to 0. Correct? So if you solve it further, you will get k plus s to the power 4 plus 8s cube plus 37s square plus 50s will be equal to 0. What you want? You want something like this, k is equal to some fs. Okay. So you have to put k one side and rest of this term on the other side of the equation. So by doing this, you will get k will be equal to minus s to the power 4 plus 8s cube plus 37s square plus 50s. So if you are interested in finding the breakaway point, you have to calculate, you have to differentiate this value of k with respect to s and put that value is equal to 0. So dk upon ds will be equal to 0. And this implies this is 50. This bracket should be here. 50s and then closure of bracket. Correct? 50s inside the parenthesis. Calculate, differentiate this k with respect to s and prove that differentiation is equal to 0. So this negative sign is meaningless. So if you do this, you will get this equation 2 4s cube 24s square plus 74s plus 50 is equal to 0. Since this is a cubical equation, so you will get three values of s. Please provide me those values of s. Means those values of s which have potential to become breakaway points for this direct root locus. You will get three values of s by solving this equation. So please use your calculator to solve the cubical equation and let me know the values. One of the value I have written s is equal to minus 0.8981. What is the other value? Minus 2.55. So it is going to be complex value. If there are minus 2.55, minus 2.55, there might be some plus minus. You have to see those. So whatever it may be, okay, it is having real part of minus 2.55. Whatever it may be, I am not going to investigate. Okay, even it is real, so it is lying beyond this end because this is the position of minus 2. So minus 2.55 will be somewhere outside this zone. And this is the only value for the direct root locus which you are trying to plot will be the valid breakaway point, because this is the only value which lies between this minus 2 to 0. Correct? So you can locate this breakaway point like here. So this is your 0.8981. This is your breakaway point. Correct? Okay. This is your breakaway. So our roots are going to start from here, and this will start from this end, and these two branches of root locus are going to split from here. This at this breakaway point. How they will approach towards the infinity? This will approach towards this line like this. This will approach towards this, and what will be the intersection point will be our next job to find. Correct? So our next job is to find the intersection of our root locus with the imaginary axis. So intersection of root locus with j omega axis. For this you will start with our characteristic equation in terms of E, and your job is to construct a Raoult area for the given characteristic equation. So our characteristic equation is s to the power 4 plus s cube plus 37s square plus 50s plus k is equal to 0. You have to construct Raoult area for this. Try yourself. I am trying it parallelly. S to the power 4 s cube s square s to the power 1 and s to the power 0. So 137 and then 8 and 50, 30.75 and then k, 1537.5 minus 8k divided by 30.75. This is equal to all. If these values are not available, we can put this value is equal to 0. Assume to be 0. And this is your k. These all values are 0. So you have to look for the row of zeros. So whether there is a possible, by putting any value of k, whether there is a row of zeros possible? Not possible. And this value also not possible. If you whatever the value between 0 to infinity, if you put any value, it will not turn into the row of 0. There is a possibility if you put this value is equal to 0, this whole term will become row of 0. You can also have confusion that put this k is equal to 0. Once again you will get row of 0. So thus this k is equal to 0 you have to avoid, because this k is equal to 0 itself here. It is very important because at this point your root locus is going to be start from s is equal to 0. That's why we are getting like this k. So it is also intersection point if you have to say. But we are interested in these intersection points rather than this. So if you put the k is equal to 0, this is s is equal to 0 is also intersection. This is also valid intersection point. So we are interested in this. So somewhat for some other value rather than 0 we are interested. So put this value is equal to 0. This is equal to 0. What is the value of k? Or you can say the k marginal. So you will get the value of k. I am going to say this is k marginal. This is what? 192.18. Correct? So read the second question. Means part B of this question. What is being asked? At what value of k system becomes unstable? Okay, so for this value of k system is here 0, we are going to avoid this. For all other value of k system, the roots of the characteristic equation lie on the left half of your s plane, so system is stable. But when the value of k becomes 192, it is on the verge of instability. For any value of k which is greater than k marginal, your root locus will be here in the right half of the s plane. What root locus signifies? It signifies the roots of your characteristic equation or the poles of your system, closed loop system. So if for any value of k, this will jump into the positive half of the s plane, so your system will become unstable. So you can say this is the value of k, which is corresponds to the marginal value or the value at which your system becomes unstable, just become unstable. Okay, correct? So now what you have to do, you have found the value of k marginal. So with this value of k marginal, put this value of k marginal here, okay, and construct auxiliary equation with the help of the row which is just above the row of 0, because by putting this value 192.18 you will get the row of 0. Okay, this is equal to 192.18. So with the help of this equation you have to construct your auxiliary equation and prove that auxiliary equation is equal to 0. You will get some value of s, and those value of s will be the intersection of your root locus branches with the j omega axis. Correct? So that's why I have told you that you have to revise your route stability criteria before constructing the root. Correct? So we are going to construct our auxiliary equation. As will be equal to 30.75 s square plus your k marginal. Okay? Or you can say 30.75 s square plus 192.18. And if you will put this auxiliary equation equal to 0, you know that the meaning of auxiliary equation. The roots of auxiliary equations are also the roots of original you can say the characteristic equation for this given value. What is the value? What are the values of s? S is equal to plus minus 2.5j. Okay, plus minus 2.5j. So this point you can say this is plus 2.5j, and this is you can say minus 2.5j. Read this part C of the question. It is being asked that at the value of this gain, you have to calculate the frequency of oscillation. So this is what? This is nothing but plus minus j omega. What is value of omega? Omega is equal to 2.5 radian per second. This is the value of frequency at which your system will oscillate when the value of gain k will become 192.18. So part C of this question has been answered. Correct? Now, since we are having complex poles, so one more job is left. You have to calculate angle of departure and angle of arrival for your complex pole. Okay? Because this root locus, this part of root locus has been constructed. So what is left? These two branches are left. Correct? So now calculation of your angle of departure. For angle of departure, what you will do? I am going to draw a Friis diagram here. Okay? I am going to locate these poles on a Friis diagram here. I am going to say this is S is equal to 0 is one pole, S is equal to -2 is another pole, and S is equal to, you can say here, what is this? -3 plus 4j is one pole, and -3 minus 4j is another pole. And you know that the angle of departure phi d is equal to nothing but 180 degree minus phi, where phi is equal to summation of phi p minus summation of phi z. So phi z, there is no zeros in this particular equation, so this will be equal. So summation of phi p. For this, suppose we are interested in finding the angle of departure for this particular pole. So you have to connect all other poles available in the system to this particular pole. This is also a pole. So connect this. So I am going to connect this. Okay? I am going to say this is your phi 1. Correct? And once again, connect this also. I am going to say it is phi 2. Okay? And here also connect this also. And if you draw like this, it will become 90 degrees. Or you can say phi 3. Correct? So what will be the value of your summation of phi? No worries. What is the value of your summation of phi p? You have to calculate this value of summation of phi p. Geometrically, of course, because if you are interested in phi 1, it will be, suppose I am going to say it is alpha. It will be 180 degree minus alpha. And alpha is what? Alpha, you know that this is your 4 magnitude and this is of your 3. Well, so we are in the process of finding the angle of departure for this particular pole. One of the poles, because we are having two complex poles, so we are in the process of finding this particular complex one. So we have just calculated that phi p is equal to 90 degree plus 104 plus 127, and finally phi d will be equal to 180 degree minus phi d is equal to minus 141 degree. How many of you have calculated this value? Please raise your hand. Okay, very good. At least my value is correct. There is a strong support. Well, so this value we have got, I am going to write here minus 3 plus 4j. So this is our reference line. Please don't talk. This is our reference line. Okay. So what will be the value of minus 141? It will be like this. Minus 141 degree. And due to symmetry, now we are going to apply our first rule of construction of root locus, that root locus is symmetrical about your real axis. So we are not going to calculate angle of departure for this another pole. Rather we will apply, we will write there that since root locus is symmetrical about real axis, so angle of departure for this particular pole phi d will be equal to plus 141 degree. Without calculation you will write. So 141 degree will be like this. Correct? Okay. Now let us, we have calculated all the necessary parameters to construct a root locus. After performing all these calculations, you have to move towards the graph. Then once again, locate precisely all the points and then find this. You have to locate this your angle of asymptotes here. Likewise, these are asymptotes here. These are asymptotes here. Okay. Your breakable point is here. What was the breakable point? Minus 0.8981. So I am going to say that your root locus will start from this pole and move towards this. Once again, it will also start from this pole and move towards this. Here it is going to split. You have to note the direction of arrow. Once again, here it is going to split. It is going to cross like this. This is your minus plus 2.5j. This is your minus 2.5j. And if somebody is going to ask what is the value of k is here, that is k is equal to k marginal is equal to 192.18. Correct. So at k is equal to 0, graph will start from here. Graph will start from here. For every increase in value, this will move like this. At a particular value of k, it will be on one another and then they will split. The similar process will happen to this also. At k is equal to 0, graph will start from here and one graph will start from here also. But how they will move? They are going to move along this line because this is your asymptotes, corresponding asymptotes. But we have just found that the initial angle of departure is 141 and minus 141 for this and plus 141 for this. So initially it will start with this your angle and this will move like this. And symmetrically you can say it will start with this 141 line and move like this. So all in all, if you try to see your root locus on the graph sheet will look like this. Very phase diagram. Correct? It is a very phase diagram. What is better than this? Somebody is saying that it's something else. Here it is one pole. Here it is another pole. This pole and this pole. This portion, this section is a part of root locus. Correct? It is like this. And this pole, this is like this. Your MATLAB will directly give you this figure, but you know the procedure behind it. What is the basically conversion procedure to construct this root locus. So with this, we will end this particular topic of root locus. We will keep on taking numericals, other numericals of the root locus in our tutorial classes. But for lecture classes, we will finish with this particular numerical. You have to revise this and try to solve this particular question.